Hola a todos. Y bueno, primero lo siento mucho, pero me voy a hablar en inglés porque no creo que tenga un nivel español suficiente para explicar todo lo que lo quiero. Y entonces lo siento mucho. Allora, so I'm going to speak in English and I'll try to keep it under 14 minutes. There's a lot of disruption today about a lot of things. And education is just one of the many, but the reason that I'm focusing on education and the reason that I'm so passionate is that I think education is the basis for building everything. It's like when you build a house, you don't start from the roof or from the windows, you start from the bottom. And if the bottom is solid and you can count on it, then you can build anything. But you need to start somewhere. So I come from Singularity University at the NASA Ames Research Park in Silicon Valley. Was founded by this gentleman, Ray Kurzweil, Director of Engineering at Google, and this other gentleman, Peter Diamandis, who's here floating in zero gravity with the best-selling director of all time, James Cameron, and real-life Tony Stark, Elon Musk. But I'm sure he's most proud of this picture here, because, you know. So I wrote this book that kind of stormed a lot of the sectors. Robots will steal, los robots robarán tu empleo, pero está bien. Está disponible en español también, está gratis también en mi sitio. Bueno, it had a lot of attention from a lot of influential people, also the CEO of this small startup in Silicon Valley, Google. Anyway, so when I say robots, most people think of something like this, which, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's a new way of transporting cats around. It also cleans the house, but when I think of robots, I think more of something like this. It can help kids learn by telling stories or by seeing how they're doing, or something that really change people's lives. For example, medical robots. And if we really teach children to be creative and to be to fulfill their potential, they can be the next engineers who give the ability to walk to someone who was paralyzed. I mean, not so long ago, you know, this is what we call gods. You know, the blind can see, the paralyzed can walk again. Robots can help people with dementia regain their life and their sociability. I mean, just look at that smile. Like, you can't fake that. Or you can give superpowers to children who are in the hospital and they can't move, and they can use a robot to move around and see the world. And they can also do amazing things. This is a live video of, well, not live now, but this is the first time she can hear. She was completely deaf for 27 years, and this is the first time that she hears. This is why we become scientists. This is why we become engineers. This is why we study, to me at least. This is why I'm a scientist. And we can perform surgeries. This one can perform, it's so called Da Vinci, can perform surgeries 10 times more accurate than the human hand. So surgeons can have micrometer precision when they do a surgery because it doesn't move around, so it has machine learning algorithms that adapt. So when you're shaking, it knows that that's just an involuntary shake, and it adapts for that. Or we can enter the bloodstream and insert robots inside. This is real. This is a robot inside the colon of a patient that delivers a drug specifically in the point where it's needed. This was done 2 years ago. And we're moving to even more advanced things like nanotechnology to actually insert things at the 10 to the minus 9 scale meters. So pretty exciting stuff. They're also teaching robots. I think this is more of a fun thing. It's not, I don't think it's going to change, but in Korea at least, this robot is teaching English, and it's, you know, it's small, so it doesn't look threatening. It's the same height as the children. There are robots who are teaching how to do kanji and the Chinese characters, and they have infinite patience. Usually teachers are very patient, but this one has infinite patience. It will never tell you. But I was very inspired by gentlemen like these. Salman Khan, the founder of the Khan Academy, and Louis von Hahn, the founder of Duolingo. Who knows these gentlemen? Okay, you should check them out. They each have 50 million students. How? Well, Salman Khan created the Khan Academy, which is an online free classroom with thousands of lessons in many things, and you can follow and create your own learning path. You can earn badges, you can see your streak, and so on. And you can have a visualization of, this is, for example, my dashboard, the things that I'm learning. And you can do tests and quizzes, and there is actually a machine behind that creates the tests. So there's no way to cheat, because the questions are created every time anew. Now, I think this is very promising, but it's a very, very closed system, because there is only about 20 teachers there in Khan Academy. And they're very, very selective in the way they allow new teachers to come in. So a lot of people can use the platform as students, but if teachers want to join in, it's almost impossible. Duolingo has a similar approach. If you want to learn a new language, por ejemplo, me voy a aprender español, pero estoy solamente al 22%. So, entonces, no puedo presentar por 14 minutos. So el conocimiento es poder, ¿verdad? So they ask you to type, to hear, to speak, to answer back, and it's like a game. It's really, really engaging. Tienes derechos, una otra verdad, más o menos. And it's really a game. They give you a streak, you have points. It's very engaging. I think these are interesting prototypes. None of these things by themselves are going to completely change or disrupt education or to replace schools. I think these are interesting tools that we can experiment and use in the schools to learn from and to extend the role of the teacher and to help aid the teachers in the process. So another interesting thing, we are beginning to integrate things. So now I have 36% proficiency in Espanol. I can say that to my LinkedIn profile, and if I go beyond, if I go 50%, it will be updated. So this becomes a way to prove my level of Spanish in actually real time, and there is the concept of starvation. If I don't practice for 2 months, this level goes down. I have to keep practicing. If you get an A2 or a first in English, then what? After 5 years, you don't know if you actually know the language. But there is a problem with these. I love them. I have 50 million students, amazing. But there is a problem. This is California. This is where these two gentlemen are, and this is where their company is, and this is where the teachers are. What I'm interested in is something like this, something that can be truly universal. It can be in many languages, it can be in many teachers, many schools, many professionals, many experts. So our goal, my goal at least, is to get to 100,000. We can get to more eventually, but 100,000 I think is a bold yet achievable plan. And the kinds of teachers that I attract are people like Brian. Now, he's not an actual teacher, but he has 75,000 students. He works at NASA, and he teaches aerospace engineering. 75,000 people are learning aerospace engineering from him. He does very interesting videos on YouTube, like how to land on a planet. He draws things and avoid thrust regions. He has all kinds of interesting equations and explains the actual system, control system theory. He has a course on Konos. In this particular course, he has now over 4,000. That's an outdated screenshot. And you have the videos that you can learn, you can watch, and you can track your progress on each. And this is Konos. Es una palabra en Esperanto de conocer. So this is my account, for example. I teach economics, interesting questions, astrophysics, climate change, and other things. I have now over 1,000 students. And these are some of the things that I'm learning. I'm learning technology, history, philosophy, cinema and films. I spent 71 hours watching videos on Konos, and I'm interacting with students and with other learners. and teachers as well. And so I'm level 16 now, going for 17. And this is like a very first test of what could be. And we're working to see what the next level is, what the next thing is. And for me, it's enabling any subject in any language, anywhere in the world, anybody to teach, anybody who has an expertise, whether they're a teacher in IB school or whether they work at NASA and they have a passion and they want to teach to someone else. If they want to teach to others for free online, they have a place to do it for free. And they don't have to ask permission to a bunch of people in Silicon Valley if they're allowed to be in the platform. As of now, we have about 360 educators from 42 countries. And together, they reach about 29 million students through their YouTube channels. So we want 100,000, not 360 like now. We just started a few months ago. We want 100,000 Bryans. They will teach each 50, 100, 200,000 people. And if you work out the math, it's pretty simple. You can get to 1 billion by having exponential impact. And that's what we call exponential impact. Reaching 1 billion people by having 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 students each through schools, through lifelong learning, through institutions, through companies, in many different venues. And there are some interesting projects that think in the terms of exponential impact. One is by my friend Peter Diamandis, who put a $20 million X Prize on the future of learning to teach basic literacy and numeracy skills, so math and how to spell, to children in Africa, using a very simple AI that can teach these basic skills for free. So it will be a free software running on an Android device, running on a $20 tablet, which will be given away for free by Google. So they ran the numbers. It would cost $60 billion and 120 years to teach 800 million kids. Well, we don't have 120 years and $60 billion, so we can do this with $20 billion and in 5 years, if we use technology the right way. Now, they're not going to replace schools, but they can fill the gap that schools currently can't provide. And I think this is what technology does. It can augment and it can extend the things that school, for one reason or another, cannot do. So there are 200 teams competing, and they will be doing a field test with 12,000 children in Kenya next year. And what I'm really excited about is the next step for, I think, education, the future of education in general, but this is the goal that I set out with Konos, which is to build a digital Aristotle. How many minutes I have?
Sí.
Okay, great. So do you know the story of Alexander the Great? He was one of the greatest conquerors of all time. And he asked his generals to bring back from all over the empire the best and wisest of men. And so one day, one of the generals came back and said, I think I found him. I found him. Great. What's his name? It's this guy. It's Aristotle. Okay, bring him here. So he brought him to his court. He said, okay, from now on, you are my teacher. You are my mentor. Teach me everything you know. And so he did. And that's how he was able to essentially conquer the known world at age 29 and keep it until he died, well, unrelated accidents. But he was the greatest, I think, also because he had such a great mentor next to him. So not everybody is as lucky as Alexander the Great to have Aristotle as personal mentor. But I think we can get very close to that by having an AI that can help you and guide you through a lifelong learning process. The moment you're born until you die, because you never stop learning, hopefully. You never stop learning. So what if you had someone or something that can help you and guide you and tell you exactly, understand what you understand, and based on that, suggest you people to talk to, videos to watch, questions to answer, people to study with, or other teachers you want to learn from. So this mentor will not do everything for you, but it will be the one that gives you the direction towards the paths that you need to take. And each of us needs a different path. And I think this is the future of education. And this is what I'm dedicating my life to building. And so with that, I think we have also other interesting opportunities to integrate new technologies. For example, this is a real video. This is not a composite. This is a real video of augmented reality. This is what you actually see using a Magic Leap. And it will be released about 3 years from now. So imagine teaching about the dinosaurs or about chemical bonds using this technology in a classroom. I think, or maybe you are here and you're learning with someone in Puerto Rico. And you are collaborating, building the molecule together and seeing if the bond is broken, what happens. If you knock out an electron, what happens. And the way you touch and interact with things really impacts your learning. And the more we do a social activity in learning, the more I think we can move forward in learning. So I'm really excited about these things, and I'm very happy to be here to be speaking with you. I look forward to hear your questions. Entonces, por favor, muchas preguntas después, y muchas gracias a todos.
Gracias.